it's quick with the shifting. And hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're gonna be going over a 2021 Kia K5 GT-Line with all-wheel drive. That's the special part. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Jerry Signer Kia here in South Salt Lake for giving me some time with this K5. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get straight into the video. Under the hood of the K5, we have a turbocharged 1.6 liter four-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 26 around town and then 34 on the highway, with power outputs being 180 horsepower and then 195 pound-feet of torque. Let's go to the front end on the K5. So first off, with the hood, they kind of have this like long hood, so it looks more like a sports car, which is pretty cool. And then coming down to the lights, full LED lights. I love how they do the orange accent lighting because it looks so much better than just your plain Jane white LEDs that pretty much every other car has. And then fog lights down below that are also LEDs. And then notice with the grille, it's kind of like a dark gray with black accenting. It looks really good. And just the front end on the K5 is absolutely fantastic. Like, this is one of the best looking new cars on the market. Now let's go over the tire and wheel setup here on the K5. So first off, we've got two 35mm tires wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. As for the design, Kia absolutely kills it with their wheel design. It looks really good with all of the blacked out elements, and then you do have the little silver elements on the outside, which just kind of look like fangs, almost like pointing towards the center. I think it's really neat looking. And then notice that they've blacked out the mirrors on the K5. Well, you can't see the other mirror, but that one's also blacked out. And then in this kind of like battleship gray color, it looks really good. Let's pop into the back of the K5. So first off, from a storage perspective, it's actually really good. This is a small size sedan, but it's got a good amount of cargo space here in the back, and the floor mat says K5. But if we actually peel back the floor mat, you actually do get a spare tires just underneath that little area. But yeah, other than that, storage space is good, and that's everything for the back. Now let's go over the rear of the K5. So first off, you probably noticed that you've got this blacked out spoiler here on the back, which I think is a nice little accent piece. And then you got this giant, like, broken up LED light bar. You can see there's all those little segments on it, which I think is pretty neat as well. And then you get your K5 badge, your GT line badge, and then your all-wheel drive badge as well. Little diffuser down here, and then those are fake exhaust tips, but they still look cool. And then, by the way, this color is actually called Wolf Gray. I feel like this is like the perfect like pickup line color. Like, imagine you take a girl out in this car and she goes, "Oh, what's that car color?" You go, "Wolf Gray, babe. Let's go back to my place now." Let's go to the door panel here in the rear of the K5. So first off, I like this little accent piece here at the top. I think it's pretty cool. And then you got this beautiful red leather with the little window control in that area. And then here are the seats in the rear. So they continue that theme of the really nice red leather. You've got the nice perforated leather there in the center. And then they actually do some like cloth accent pieces there on those little parts. But let's actually pop in. So stepping in, I do have to duck just a little bit. But if I sit all the way up, I can actually touch the top. I'm 5'11", and then there's what my legroom looks like. And then you guys will notice that just down here, there's a couple little like USBs. And then another cool thing here is, well, I gotta grab this. We do get some cup holders as well, which is a nice little touch. But that's the back of the K5. Now let's go over the door panel here in the front of the K5. So again, they've got that same gray trim right here with the red leather down below. And then we've got all of our window controls in this little area, and then your mirror adjustments as well. And then here are the seats in the front. So again, beautiful red leather. It says GT line on it. You got the nice perforated leather there in the center with the cloth trim that kind of dissects it. Power adjustments are on the side of the seat. And then here's what the pedals look like at the bottom portion. And then you got that, which releases the trunk. You got your lane departure assistance. You've got this for your stability control. The steering wheel is manually adjustable. And there's one more look before we pop in. Now here's the steering wheel in the K5. So first off, we've got a nice soft touch all around the steering wheel. And then you've got the darker stitching there on the center portion. And then on the sides of the steering wheel, you get your controls for like the center stack, your cruise control that does have the follow function, and then your lane keep assist, phone controls and voice command controls on the other side. And then you have the little stock for the turn signal / lights, and then you got the stock for the windshield wipers on the other side. But that is everything for the steering wheel. And here's our gauge cluster in the K5. First off, we've got a couple different menus you can scroll through. Again, that pages button, you just press that and you can go through the different menus. Pretty straightforward setup. The cool thing here is actually the drive mode select. So you got a couple different drive modes you can go through. You've got your custom, your snow on the one side, you got your sport there in the center. And notice when we do go into the sport mode, what it'll basically do is just give you kind of like the sport mode right there at the bottom, but then it'll have like the red underline, and then you've got your normal, and then you do have your comfort as well. So really cool with the customization on the drive modes. Not as cool as what you can get in some of the other gauge cluster setups, but I mean, it gets the job done. Now here's the center infotainment system. First off, if we pop it into reverse, we do get a backup camera with trajectory lines, and they do turn with the steering wheel. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, you've got analog buttons on either side, but it is also a touchscreen, which I guess that it doesn't have the swipe function. For some reason, thought I could swipe past that. Guys, you just got to be smarter than me, and you can work these things. You do get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay with it. You guys can see response time on it is really good. I love how it has a little voice memo as an option. But yeah, that's everything for the infotainment system. Here's the climate control section. This does come with dual zone climate, which is really nice, especially at the price point this is at. And then just down below, we've got some USBs and a 12 volt. And then we do have the shifter for that 8-speed automatic transmission. It does have a manual shift function. And then you got the shift lock release, which is pretty interesting. And then you get your parking brake down here, your auto hold. And then in this section, we've got some cool controls. We've got our heated seats, you got your heated steering wheel, and then your drive mode select, which you guys saw the drive modes just a little bit ago. Couple cup holders. And then this is the wireless phone charger, which is just in that little area. And then we do have the center console with nice red leather. Opening it up, storage space is pretty good. And then coming over here, notice you've got really nice material there on the dash. And then up above, again, really nice material with the soft touch and the stitching. And then we've got a pretty regular glove box, but that's that part of the K5. Up top here, we actually get LED lights, which is another nice little option. And then this does come with a panoramic sunroof. The controls are just right there in the center. But it's pretty nice. I mean, it's a small car, but got the sunroof, definitely opens things up. Now that we're done going to the interior on this K5, let's quickly get into the pricing. So in terms of pricing, this new K5 with the all-wheel drive and all of the options it has, stickers for a little bit over $30,000 before any type of market adjustment. That being said, let's take this K5 out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off here in this new K5 with all-wheel drive. First off, visibility over the hood. It's just like all the other K5s. It's really easy to see out of. And then there's your visibility through both the mirrors. They do come with blind spot monitoring. And then here's throughout the rest of the rear, which visibility in the very far back is a little bit impeded, but I mean, it's average for a sedan, and the blind spot monitoring takes care of that. Well, let's set off. Well, we are setting off here in this new K5, and I'm really excited to drive this all-wheel drive variant because I feel like not only does the all-wheel drive make it more practical, but I think it's going to fix the little bit of torque steer that you do get with the K5 because it is a front-wheel drive platform. And so when you just have the front-wheel drive variant, then I mean, when you floor it, you're going to get some torque steer, but I feel like this all-wheel drive is going to fix that, which is going to make this car just drive that much better. But initially setting off and getting up and going, I kind of forgot how nice the K5 is. So Kia is supposed to be kind of like the sportier variant out of the three brands, you know, Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis. Kia is supposed to be like the sporty version, but they still drive really nice. It has this nice smooth ride quality to it, and these roads back here are beat up, to say the least. And I mean, it just rides over them really smooth. Like, there's no issues whatsoever. Low end torque's really good on this, which, I mean, that's another nice little touch. But yeah, so far getting up and going, it's really easy to drive. It has that small kind of like zippy car feel to it, and just for, like, you know, partial throttle driving, it's great. You do feel a little bit of turbo lag, but it's got enough torque that it's not really an issue whatsoever. I love how it's telling me leading vehicle is driving away. That's cool. That'll help all the people that sit there and text on their phones all day and make me have to wait at a green light for like 50 minutes because they decide to not look up. But my bitterness aside, we're gonna pop into the sport mode and then the manual mode as well coming up here. I want to see what the downshifts are like. The downshifts are really quick. That's impressive. Oh, a little bit too fast for first. There we go. Yeah, the downshifts are really quick. I am definitely impressed with that. But we are going to be getting our full-blown acceleration here now with the K5. those downshifts are quick. Or sorry, upshifts. Guys, you know what? You gotta fire me for being a car reviewer. I just totally upshifted and called it a downshift. My boss man's gonna fire me. But anyways, yeah, it's quick with the shifting, and I'm not noticing torque steer. That's really, see, the all-wheel drive fixed that, just like what I guessed happened. It doesn't have that weird torque steer feel anymore, and so it definitely makes this a little bit better to drive. I would say that this would be kind of more of the driver's car, just because you're not going to be having that craziness happening with the wheel when you floor it. And before we get into summing things up, we do have to get one more acceleration, because I mean, you guys probably didn't watch a review on the K5 to not see at least a couple accelerations. We're going to let this person go by first. And we're probably gonna get stuck now because these people have to go by. But while we are waiting, I love the heated seats in this car too. It's freezing today, and I am not freezing because heated seats. But let's get up and moving now and get another acceleration. Yeah, no torque steer. That's really nice. So, where does this K5 sit? First off, from the outside, I love the look of the K5. I think just there's not a bad angle on this car. It's just a really good looking car. Interior wise, I think it's great as well. I wish that they would steal that like digital gauge thing that they have in like the Sonata and all that. I think they need to just throw that into the K5. That would be a cool little thing to have. So you'd have like all the screens and everything. But other than that, the interior is great. The infotainment system's great. From a driving perspective, it's quick enough. I'm excited to drive the GT that has the bigger turbocharged engine. That'll be fun. I think it's about 300 horsepower, which 300 horsepower in this car is just monstrous. But with this all-wheel drive system, should you get the all-wheel drive one? Well, I mean, it depends. If you live in a place that it doesn't really snow and you don't need all-wheel drive, I could see not getting it. However, it fixes the torque steer on this car. It makes it drive so much better. And so I think it's worth it just from a drivability perspective. Like, even if you live in a place where it doesn't snow, it just makes this car handle a little bit better. It just makes it drive better. And so it kind of makes it more of a driver's car. And yeah, with all that being considered, I would get the all-wheel drive variant. And yeah, that's the new K5 GT with all-wheel drive. Now, that is going to sum things up for our video on this 2021 Kia K5. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Jerry Steiner, Kia here in South Salt Lake, for giving me some time with this K5. Check out their inventory in the link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.